I really am trying hard, not just as a journalist, but as a citizen, to keep up with all the Democrats who are running for president. A couple more have just jumped in. It brings the total to 13, and it's only March. A lot more people are going to get in. What's fascinating about the last two entrants is that they are governors or former governors who seem to be pretty competent at running their states, but don't exactly fit the profile of the kind of presidential contender who could catch fire. The latest is John Hickenlooper. He is the former governor of Colorado. He's seen as a kind of a pro-business moderate during his 8 years there, although he also ushered in, obviously, the age of legalized marijuana in the state of Colorado. And he himself had mused in recent years that he wouldn't be a very good White House candidate because how excited can people get about a moderate? But particularly in this environment, when so much of the energy in the Democratic Party is on the left, when so many of the candidates, Kamala and Cory and Bernie, are running pretty hard to the left, you wonder if there's even a lane, leaving aside whether Joe Biden runs, for somebody who is not like that. Now, the thing about John Hickenlooper, and the same goes for the other person who's just gotten the race, Washington State Governor Jay Inslee, is that they have almost no national profile. You haven't seen them out much on the Sunday talk shows or writing op-eds in the major papers. You know, it's commendable that as governors they tried to work with both sides, that they pretty much stuck to home state issues. That's why they were elected. But that doesn't exactly give them much to build on. Now, you never know who's going to catch fire. Jay Inslee, for example, says his number one issue absolutely is going to be climate change. He's going to emphasize that far above anything else. That's a pretty hot issue, thanks to AOC and others, if you're a Democrat. But I don't know that it's an issue that will get lots of people coming out to the polls just to vote for Jay Inslee on that. Same thing with Hickenlooper. The idea, even one of his friends and supporters was quoted in the New York Times as saying, I'm not quite sure why John is running because it's hard for people to get excited about a raging moderate. Now, a raging moderate might be good at governing. I mean, people always say they want civility and they want people who can work with both Republicans and Democrats, and they want somebody with a proven track record. Well, Hickenlooper probably has most of those things. But what he doesn't have is a signature issue or a particularly shall we say, exciting style. Low-key can work well at the gubernatorial level, at the mayoral level, not so much in the heat of a White House campaign. Now, one other really dark horse, not talking here about Michael Bloomberg or whether Biden gets in, is Andrew Cuomo, who on paper, governor of New York, and now in his third term, has delivered a lot of what liberals have wanted, gun control, same-sex marriage before it was made legal nationally, marijuana legalization, and other things. At home, he's often hit from the left for not being liberal enough. So there's a piece out in The Atlantic, long hours of interviews with Andrew Cuomo, in which he sort of makes the case that some of the Democrats who are running are going off a cliff by moving too far left, and a more moderate candidate is needed. He seemed to be making the case for himself, but he demurred and deflected, saying he'd get in the race. Now, I covered his father, Mario Cuomo, who famously left an airplane on the tarmac at Albany because he's going to fly to New Hampshire on the filing deadline just before '92 and run against Bill Clinton. Of course, he didn't run. Mario Cuomo ultimately concluded that what he was selling, his brand of liberalism, New York liberalism, wouldn't necessarily sell nationally. I think maybe Andrew Cuomo has the same assessment. It's not impossible he'd get in. If he did, he'd probably be a strong candidate. But it's interesting that he's done a lot of things that should please liberals, but at home, among the Manhattan liberal set and the Cynthia Nixon types, he's not seen as liberal enough. So even without Andrew Cuomo, this is going to be a crowded field, folks.